The purpose of this video clip is to provide a practical demonstration of sound-to-picture techniques using the Digital Audio Workstation or DAW Logic Pro X. Because of the online nature of this workshop, I've decided to create a video clip of the class rather than try and teach it live. This is because the share screen option is rubbish and the sound provision in Teams is, well, it's just awful. This is a sound class, so we can't have rubbish sound playback. Logic Pro X is a Mac-based DAW, meaning it'll only run on a Mac. And it's the software that I use for the second year MA 2022 Creative Sound Design module. And it's available in all the Media Arts labs. Additionally, you can download a 90-day free trial of Logic Pro X. And I will post the link in the Teams chat once you have finished watching this video. Okay, so let's get this show on the road. Okay, so the purpose of this clip is to demonstrate the functionality of Logic Pro X with regard to sound-to-picture work. I'm assuming that most of you will have downloaded the free trial version and will want to play with it. So this is kind of a step-by-step guide, but it's also just a lecture demonstration. So those of you that are not necessarily interested in doing it yourselves, then you can just watch this and understand the process. Those of you that download Logic and have installed it, you need to do a little bit of setting up. So I'm going to talk about the setting up, and I'm going to basically cover sort of entry-level post-production sound design for a film, sound to picture. So either your Logic Pro X icon is in your applications folder, or perhaps you've already dragged it down to your taskbar. I already have. So just click on it to open it up. And here we go. So we're going to be choosing an empty project, but we need to do a few things here first. By the way, if you don't have this open, if it looks like this, just click on the details arrow. Don't have to worry about any of this stuff. This is all to do with the music functionality of Logic, which we do a lot of. Yeah, I mean, in the second year course. When I say music, noise, sound, composition. What we're interested in is the sample rate, 44.1. That is the industry standard for digital music, whether you're listening to Spotify or whatever you kids listen to, I don't know, I don't care. Or on a CD, the audio will be mastered at 44.1 kilohertz. Sound to picture is 48, and it's very important that we then change the sample rate for a sound to picture project to 48. The frame rate is probably your default will be 2997, because this is an American DAW. This is an American program, and so it uses the American broadcast standard, which is NTSC, which is 30 frames per second, or 2997. We in this country, the European standard, and we still follow the European standard, is PAL, and the frame rate is 25 FPS. Now, at this point, I would be changing it to 25 FPS, but I'm not going to do it. You do that, by the way. I'm not going to do this because I want to demonstrate what happens when you drag a film with a different frame rate onto the Logic timeline. It's very important that we have the same frame rate on Logic as the frame rate for the film, but I just want to demonstrate what happens should there be a different frame rate film imported onto a Logic project folder or file that has been set at 2997. So make sure it's set at 48 and at 25. I'm going to go to empty project and then choose. Okay, so choose a type of track. Software instrument. Does what it says on the tin. It's a load of soft synths built into Logic. It's a great value for money, this program, actually. This is what we're going to be choosing. Record using a microphone or line input. If you wanted to plug a guitar in, it's got lots of soft amps and soft pedals. I use that a lot. Drummer. Drummer is a kind of intuitive algorithm drummer that allows it to follow the music. So it creates its own drum pattern, so you don't have to program that in. Pretty good for rock and stuff like that, and hip hop. I use that quite a bit, but for the purposes of this exercise, we're just going to choose the audio track here, and we're going to go create. And here we are. So let's look at the function. This is the input track, audio 1. And I'm going to turn that volume down because it's recording on my microphone. Oh no, that'll be fine. That little button's mute. That little button is solo. That is record enable, and that is input monitoring. That allows you to input the signal without being in record mode, basically. But you'll notice now soon all of those icons are going to change, because what I realize is the first time that you open Logic is essentially prefigured or pre-configured to be kind of GarageBand with benefits. So we need to add advanced tools. And that's a very simple process, and it only ever has to be done once. So once you've done this, you never have to do it again. Go to Logic Pro, go to Preferences, select Advanced Tools. There we go. So what you'll notice, you'll have snap, you'll have crossfade, you'll have an extra window here, and that's just part of the extra functionality that you get with Show Advanced Tools. There we go. Audio, and have a good read of that. I don't want to spend too much time going through each one. There is, those of you that are very interested, I've got an hour-long video on covering all of this in much more detail for second years, because when we're teaching blended. So I can always send you the link for that. But for now, just make sure everything's ticked and click close. And have you noticed the little wood side effects here have gone, and you've suddenly got snap, and you've got crossfade, or no overlap or overlap. I always set it to crossfade, and because we're doing sound to picture, go to snap and switch it off, because we're going to want to be able to move sounds so that they mirror the image, and if you've got a snap on, it'll snap it from one increment to the next. Snap is really for music, so you just switch that off, and there we go. Okay, so next thing we need to think about is importing a movie. Now, I'm going to import a different movie to the one we're going to be using just to demonstrate something. No, actually, am I going to do that? Oh no, what the hell. I'm just going to go to Movie, Open Movie. And I'm going to navigate to my folder, Reese Work, it'll be MA1007 Workshop, and The Door Original Cut. That's what we're going to use. This is a film that was shot by a student after they graduated, actually in the summer after they graduated in 2005. It's quite an old film, but it's really good for teaching purposes because it has no dialogue, so you can do atmospheric post-production sound. Remember I told you that I wasn't going to be changing the 2997 to 25 because I wanted to demonstrate what happened when you put a film with a different frame rate to the Logic project when you try and import it. So it says the movie frame rate doesn't match the project frame rate. The movie has a frame rate of 25 FPS. The project is currently set at 2997. So this is the prime directive, and that is always use the frame rate that the film comes in. Yeah, it doesn't matter if it's some kind of weird frame rate because the director didn't really think, or the DOP didn't really set up the camera problem. Doesn't matter. Just because it's supposed to be 25 doesn't mean it ever will. And it's very important that you match the frame rates, because when you export the sound to import it into the video editing software to then match it to the image to do a final bounce of your final film, the sound and the image will drift apart because the sound thinks it's a 25 frames per second film when in fact it's 2997 or some other thing. So it'll helpfully highlight in blue the one that you really should use. So I'm going to go, yes, use 25. And there we have it. And so the film suddenly pops up here. And look, by the way, have you noticed these icons have changed? Because it thinks you're a professional, you haven't got those pretty little icons. It's got mute, solo, record, and input monitoring. And if I were to create a new track, by the way, can you see these two little buttons? This button creates a brand new track. This one duplicates an existing track, which is very handy if you've got a track that's got lots of effects on it, and you need to have a track with the same effects on it, and you don't have to then copy all those effects and put them all back in. You can then just duplicate. I'm going to create a new track. And as you can see, all those pretty pictures have gone. And now it's audio. It's the same options: software, instrument, audio, drummer, guitar, or bass. Input 1, output 1 and 2, create. There we go. I'm going to create a few more actually. So I'm going to, let's have, so Foley, Atmos. Let's have another 3 tracks. I don't know if we'll need them all. We can always delete some if we don't. Create. There we go. And if we play the film, there we go. There it is. Okay, I'm not going to just stand there while we watch this film a little bit. By the way, I'm going to put this film, along with the sound effects I've prepared for this class, onto a WeTransfer, and I'm going to send the whole first year the link, so that if you want to have a little play on this actual project, just download, and you can then import it into your version of Logic Pro X. If I close this down, it disappears. That's because I haven't switched on these things here. Library. There it goes. That gives us a very, actually we don't need that. That's mainly for music. So we can close that down. But we don't need that. We need this. There we go. And as you can see, the movie will play in a little window in the corner, and the track that we're on will have all of its details here. Don't worry about any of this stuff yet. It's really kind of second year stuff, or people who have decided they're going to do the sound for the film in the summer. And I can send those people, or anybody who wants it really, extra links for little clips that I created for last year's second year, thanks to COVID and blended learning. I made loads of clips for those who couldn't attend face to face. Okay, so I'm going to leave it there now for a second, because I want to go. Okay, I've got my headphones on now because we're actually doing some sound on Logic, and so I need to be able to monitor that. Okay, so we're going to import some sounds to add them onto the timeline. So I'm just going to click on this little box up here. Can you see? And it's a browser, or you can just hit the F button and it opens it up. Project. So we've got the I can delete that. That was left over from the last bit of demonstration I did. So we want to import some files. So we're going to click on audio file, add audio file. And as you can see, it automatically goes to the sound effects library here. And you can find whatever sounds you want. This is the same as in the Williams building in the shared spaces. Basically because these are my sound effects that I've put into that library. And we have BBC sound effects, many different sound effects, and so on. But for the sake of brevity, I'm not going to do that. I've already prepared some. So I'm going to go into my workshop, and here are the audio files. And what have I got? Just general Atmos sounds. So I've got a church bell. Let's play that. Oh, maybe it's not playing because it's set up differently. Anyway, I'm going to highlight all of those sounds. So you've got church bell, country Atmos because it's a country environment, footsteps on bridge, footsteps on grass, girl giggle, various types, river, rustling undergrowth, steady night breeze, stream, and whistle wind. I'm going to go add all. There they all are. And can you see church bell, A48, 16-bit stereo, and done. It's now adding all of those sounds. So in view, I can hide all regions. So there we are. Just shows the sounds. So let's have a country Atmos sound. There it is. So I'm going to grab it and drag it onto Atmos 1. So that's what all I've done. Let me repeat that again. I'm just going to... Let's close that down. Country Atmos, grab it and drag it onto a track about starting, there we go, okay, about there, and there it is. What else do I have? Would have liked a few more atmospheres. I might have to go and find another one. Rustling and growth, breeze, stream, whistle, wind. Okay, so let's have a little listen. I'm going to take the level down a bit and just have a little listen. Just a little bit of sound just brings the whole thing to life, doesn't it? So now I'm going to trim the beginning of this, because often sound effects fade in and I want to trim out the fade. If I'm going to do a fade, I want to do it myself. And then the beginning of the clip is like acts as a playback head, so I can move it. Can you see it moves it around? And I want it to be just before it comes up, like so. So these are my various tools. This is the pointer tool and the drag tool, but there's an alternative tool. So I'm going to click on the command tool option and I'm going to select fade. And then I'm going to press the command key on my keyboard, and holding that down, if I click, you can see that little icon change, and I can position my cursor at the beginning and I can drag it a little bit, and that does a fade. So let's have a little look at this. There we are, it's quite nice. I can move it a little bit. Now, if you look through the whole film, you'll understand that she is a supernatural creature. So she is of the air kind of thing, whereas he is very much of the earth. So we hear his footsteps, but we don't necessarily hear hers. So there we go. So what kind of sounds do we need? So, well, first of all, we need a bit of a stream. So I'm going to drag that down, and there's my stream. I'm going to just trim it a little bit, and then I'm not going to hear the stream for her. It's going to come in about there. Let's take the level down a bit. Much too loud. Let's take it down a bit more. And I'm going to keep that there. Oh, I've run out. What do we do? Well, Command C, highlight the track, Command V, do a little bit of a crossfade. And I want it to disappear, but there. So I'm going to trim that down like so. And we'll mix, this is just track laying. I'm just track laying the sounds and approximately setting the levels, approximately. Indeed, I'm going to take this up a little bit and this up a little bit, because what I don't want to do, I want to mix to high level. As long as the proportions, the mix between the two sounds are right, we can just take the level down. The volume down. So we don't want to be mixing it too low, otherwise there's no place for us to go. So let's just play that back a little bit. Not bad, not bad. Let's have some footsteps. Footsteps on the bridge. So that'll be a Foley sound. So I'm just going to solo. Sorry, soloing it actually mutes me. So I'm just going to mute the other tracks. Okay. Right, so there they are. I'm going to find them. So I'm going to see these bars here. This makes all the files bigger. Actually, take it down. I don't need to show stereo. And this zooms in and out. Yeah. So I don't like the opening ones. So I'm going to start with that one. So I'm just going to, now I'm going to go up to my Alt tool. And I'm going to select scissors. I'm going to make sure my snap is off. I'm going to zoom in and I'm going to chop see if that's enough. I'm going to delete the little bits of gap. Let's move those out of the way just in case I haven't got enough. And I'm going to grab them and I'm going to drag them to the point where we're crossing the bridge. So here we are. All right, so I'm going to get the first one. Now this is quite tricky because you can't see his feet, so you've got to go according to the rhythm of his movement. So I'm going to have the first footstep. I'm going to try it out of shot. So the next footstep then is going to be about there, I think. I don't want it to fade, so I'm going to trim that down a little bit. Then the next footstep be about there-ish. Fine. Next one about there. And then he waits. Let's move those out of the way. Footstep there. There. And I'm going to need some more, so I'll chop up a few more. Okay. And we'll just have, I think that'll be enough actually. Yeah. Okay, now normally I would spend ages getting each one right, but let's see whether it's kind of more or less okay. We'll unmute these. That first one didn't work, so I'll get rid of that. Let's try it again. Okay, I would be fussing and fighting about all of this. I'm going to rename that river. I'm going to rename this all these will be the footsteps. Okay, let's play that back one more time. Yeah, not perfect, but good enough for rock and roll. Okay, so did I have footsteps on grass? What's that sound like? Nothing that I really like, if I'm honest. Okay, so the last thing, rustling undergrowth. Okay, we're going to have that. I'll put that in now. I'll put that in Foley 2. And this is when he's fighting through the bushes. So let's move it until he comes around. About there. And we can finish it about there. See how that sounds. Let's take it down a little bit. Oh, I've still got the old footsteps that I had deleted. Okay, I'm just getting confused by the colours. They're all the same colour. So I'm going to go to my view, show colours. And let's change them around a bit. So let's have that. No, let's have that there. Stream. Kind of bluish colour. Footsteps. We'll have those kind of yellowish. Rustling undergrowth. There we go. Or maybe purple. There we go. I keep saying there we go. It's one of my things. Let's take the level down. And I'm sorry about all of that. Let's play it again. Not bad, not perfect. What I would normally do is I would come in with a big branch and do it live. And I'm going to demonstrate a little bit of live Foley with the grass footsteps as much as I possibly can in this room. But here we go. So I'm just going to do this little sequence. Oh, in fact, let's actually have the video nice and big, and let's just see. When it comes to post-production sound design, 70% of everything you do is listen. Actually, more like 90%. Listen and listen and listen. That third footstep isn't right, but okay. So I'm going to create another Foley track. So I'm going to hit the duplicate. And I'm going to have, let's have this little girl. Okay, so let's give her a bit of life, shall we? So I've got a girl giggle that I took from the sound effects library. All this stuff's from the sound effects library. Let's just close those down. Okay, so do we have a girl? I'm sure we had one. Girl giggle natural. Okay, because she becomes more supernatural as time passes, I have more effect. So I'm going to just get the girl giggling. And we don't see a giggle, so it's got to be off screen. It's got to be implied. So I'm going to chop this in half, and have a first girl giggle there, and then there. Let's see what that's like. That's too late. That's because I didn't trim it down a bit. Let's go there. Try that again. Actually, I don't like that opening. Let's have that giggle afterwards, and then this one there. Try that. Bit late. Let's have it a bit earlier. Not bad. A bit loud. Okay. The next thing I want to do that we can do at the minute is let's add the church bell. So that would be another Atmos. So I'm going to duplicate that track. Okay, church bell, and where that is going to be, where his attention is drawn by the fact that the bell. Let's have it coming in at this point. Ooh, what is this bell? It's a call to prayer. I'm not sure that's the right kind of bell I want. Anyway, it'll do. Really quiet, and I'm going to pan it so it's coming out of kind of this side a little bit. Okay, I'm just going to trim these up a bit so it doesn't fade in. I wouldn't be using this bell if I'm honest. I should have spent more time thinking about the right bell to choose. So what'll happen is that it's distant, and then it gets louder as we get nearer. And it's panned to the center like that. Okay. I'd kind of want it over by then. There's the last one. Let's chop that up. Let's chop it to here. Okay. How's that sound? Let's zoom in a bit. Zoom out a bit. Okay. Yeah. Horrible. Probably not going to be any better, but okay. I'm not doing a very good job about how brilliant sound is by choosing all the wrong sounds, but this is illustrative, so that's what I'll say anyway. Okay, so maybe a few more girl giggles as he gets into the wood. So he's moving away. Let's have, what's this one sound like? Not that one. That's a natural. Let's have, what's this? Okay, we'll have a little bit of that. We'll move that to here. That'll do for that bit. Let's chop it actually, because I can use it a bit later on. And let's have a little bit. Have we got more treated ones? What's this one like? That sounds all right. Ordinary to me. They don't sound particularly treated. Never mind. That'll be fine. Again, illustrative. Let's go from the start and let's see how that feels. So cows now. Okay. We're going to need a little bit of something for when she crosses over the bridge. There's the bridge here. Zoom out a bit more. Okay, so I did have some weird wind. What's that like? Oh, I don't like that. I wonder if I could make a sound effect. Okay, I'm gonna let's do create a new Foley track. You don't necessarily put have a different track for every single sound. So, but in this case, what I'm going to do, can you see here? This is our input track for this track here, and we've got channel EQ and compressor. It's all flat at the minute, so it's not affecting anything. And what have we got here? This comes as standard, long ambience, small hall. So I'm just going to go there. So I'm in here now. And let's see what I sound like if I put a lot of reverb on me. Ooh. Okay, that's pretty good. I haven't got time to show you how to put specific sounds into send effects, but I can show you an insert effect. So we'll do it on insert. So these are insert effects. So I'm going to click on here. I'm going to select delay first of all. Let's have 1. So let's have something a bit funky. Sorry. 1. Oh yeah, I like that. I like that. Okay, actually I'll have to, let me put this on. Okay, and I'm going to create a reverb. Reverberation is kind of reflection. I'm going to choose Space Designer Stereo 1. Let's have something warped spaces, textures 1. Oh yeah, okay. I'm going to have that, but I'm also going to put in 1, that reverb. Okay, so now I'm just going to do a live vocal effect. Okay, so I'm back normal. Let's have a look. So that sound, I've never tried doing that before. Oh, I forgot the delay. I'll put the delay back on. Let's try it again. It sounds a bit too much like me going. Yeah, I'm good. Okay, I'm going to add more of that. So I'm going to take some of the dry out. Now, let me just explain this briefly. So Space Designer. I'm going to click on the little one in the middle here, this little thing, and it allows me then to change, and everything's non-destructive. I can change this anytime I like. But I'm going to take the dry out. And the dry is the untreated sound. Like my voice now is untreated. It's dry as a bone, whereas on the other track, I was getting all that reverb. So I'm going to take the dry out and boost the reverb a little bit. So I'm just getting the reflection and less of the dry sound. And we can make that ratio anything that we like. Let's try it again. I might need to raise the volume because I've lost a lot of dry. Let's have a little listen. It's nice, it's just not enough. Let's watch the volume. I shouldn't really have the volume that loud. Yeah, nice, but I do need a little bit more wet and a little bit more dry. Let's have a look at the Space Designer. I'm going to mix, take a bit of the dry out, put some of the... Okay, now I'm doing this really, really quickly. Normally I would be modging around. You get the idea. You get the idea? I hope so. I really, really do. To begin at the beginning. It is spring, moonless night in a small town, starless and Bible black. Sorry, I'm far too old and have been doing this for far too long to have such fun doing it. Okay, I'm not going to talk about mixing because I have clips specifically about how to mix in Logic, and I'm going to paste those. They're YouTube clips like this one. I'm going to paste those in the Teams chat, so anybody interested can learn how to do that. And it's actually talking about the DAW, yeah. So it's actually mixing the DAW film, so it relates specifically to that. But I'm going to finish it here. Actually, I think Oh no, I got to do the footsteps. Okay, but I'm going to finish the atmosphere kind of stuff, and we're going to play as far as the field, and we're not going to design the rest of the film. Though feel free to do it yourselves. And if you do it, and you want some feedback, I'd be happy to give feedback to anybody who wants to have a bash at this. Sound brings image to life. Without sound adds weight to a film. Without sound, you may as well be watching a kind of a silent Super 8 of your nan in 1972 in Marbella. It lacks emotional weight. Sound brings it all together. If you take sound away from a film, you're left really with just light and shade. Take the film away, and what you have left with sound is a radio drama. So, sound is important, much more important than the image. But I would say that because I don't care about image. I just care about the sound. Okay, so, Yoda asides apart, I'm going to stop this here for me, and we're going to go to the last final section, which is live Foley. The art of digital Foley is taking, well, it's basically practical sound effects performed in synchronization to the film. And it was invented by, I want to say John Foley, but a guy called Foley back in the 1940s. And it's something called the Foley stage. And Foley artists are still used in all motion pictures to this day. So I want to do walking on grass. So the best thing for walking on grass is actually 1/4-inch tape. You'd be surprised how many sound effects you can do using 1/4-inch tape. All kinds of different effects. So we're going to try the walking on grass, or walking through leaves, walking in the forest. And what I'm going to do, I'm just going to use this USB microphone. Everything that I've done on this clip, on this video, has been done with either sound effects available in the library, and putting down the footsteps on the bridge using library sound effects. We would call that digital Foley, but this is live Foley. So it's bound to get a bit clumpy as I move the microphone around the place. But what I'm essentially going to do, there we are, that should be enough. So I've got this. Oh, and this is quite good for rustling through the undergrowth. And I wasn't very happy with that rustling through the undergrowth, so I would probably have done it again with this tape. But I'm conscious that time is pressing, and you're going to be watching this for a long time. So I've muted all of the other sounds. I don't want those coming through. I've got the film up. I'm going to have it as big as I can, like so, and I'm going to move the microphone down to record these footsteps. I'll tell you what I'll do. I'll see if I can move. There we are. Hopefully, I don't know whether you can see that or not, but I'm hoping you can. And here we go. Okay. Be interesting to see what that's like. Oh, lots of more walking, and I'm not doing the church. That's all walking around, and maybe that's something that you can do for those of you that are interested in maybe finishing off the film. Anyway, we'll stop recording at that point. Quarter-inch tape. The gift that keeps on giving. Okay, so let's just move that out of the way. Hopefully I recorded it. There it is. There's the recording. Okay, so let's have a little listen. I better put my headphones on. Let's actually have it so that you can see me here. Okay. Right, so I didn't record it. I should have checked levels and stuff like that, but there it is. But that should be fine. So I just put all the other stuff in. And let's see how it works. Forgotten about that sound effect. Forgot about those cows as well. Actually, that was okay. So normally, we were just track laying here. Remember, track laying is just setting the approximate. I can get rid of all of that. Setting the approximate levels. It's not mixing, and I'm not going to show you how to do mixing in this particular video because, well, there's only so much you can do in one particular video. However, I do have clips that I've made already for the second year course that has how to embed this sound directly into the film, how to do automated mixing, and how to do a bounce, which is taking the mixed track on the timeline. Oh God, I wish it wouldn't keep telling me. I don't want to update and I don't want the details. Bugger off. Okay. I completely lost my trailer. Oh yes, how to bounce down, taking this and turning it into a stereo file that you can then import into into Premiere or something like that to line up with the film, then bounce that down with the final post-production sound. Or you can just write the whole of this design directly into the movie. You better be sure that you've got that right though. Though actually, if you haven't got it right, it doesn't make any difference because the sound from the movie will also be on a separate track, the dialogue, so you can have a few goes at it. But yeah, so that's live Foley. I love doing live Foley. I'd probably be doing things like, I'd be probably trying to, something like that, for when the girl runs past in the graveyard. We'd have to do the keys. There's some special effects when she's in the bushes, which would need me to be kind of sounds because she's not naturalistic at that point. And then of course inside the chapel where we have to create an environment like a reverb space to replicate the interior characteristics or attributes of a small country church. I'd be replacing the bell. I'd be starting all over again. I'd be getting rid of the cows. But this is illustrative. It's designed to show you what post-production is, and essentially it is stripping out any sound that you possibly can, except the dialogue. We cannot do post-up syncing in the department. We don't have the facilities for it. So whatever dialogue is recorded on location has to stay there. I also have a little video about that that I'll post in the Teams chat for when we do, well, once you've finished watching this video and you come back in. Okay, so there we have it. Before we leave, just a little postscript. Remember that tape introduction? My message on tape at the beginning of this clip? Let's play it again. The purpose of this video clip is to provide a practical demonstration of sound. Of course, it's all lies. Using the Digital Audio Workstation, or DAW, Logic Pro X. Let me turn some stuff off, like the dog. Because of the online nature of this workshop, the film projector, I've decided to create a video clip, real noise, of the class rather than tape noise, teach it live. This is because the share screen option is rubbish. Change the EQ. In Teams is, well, it's just awful. This is a sound class. Doesn't read now, does it? Rubbish sound playback. Just doesn't read. Let's go back a little bit and I'll play a little bit more. Is to provide a practical demonstration of sound-to-picture techniques using the Digital Audio Workstation, or DAW, Logic Pro X. Because of the online nature of this workshop, I've decided to create a video clip of the class rather than try and teach it live. This is because the share screen option is rubbish and the sound provision in Teams is, well, it's just awful. There we have it. Except I don't like it. I cheated. Well, I mean, of course I cheated. Why did I make all those changes? Why? I wanted to put it on a tape recorder because I have a feeling that any kind of testimony, any kind of vocal testimony, has a kind of an emotional immediacy if it appears to be playing back on a tape recorder. I discovered that in the early 90s when I watched an arena show on Joe Meek, where they had a tape recorder turning and we had his deconstructed voice, the poor quality voice, and I thought, oh yeah, that sounds confessional. It has an extra weight to it, an extra semiotic weight. But later on into the program, it actually showed a 60mm film. It's kind of a news piece that was done on him at the time, and I realised that they'd just taken the audio from that clip and put it over the image of a tape recorder going round and round, and that inspired this kind of idea. I use this clip here. It's called Tape Testimonies Exercise. It's a second-year clip where we can put stuff in there, treat it, and see what kind of, it has kind of an emotional weight to it to sort of prove that theory. And it's the semiotics. It's what we expect to hear. But what I haven't designed is the quality of the film itself. I cheated and I put the sound of a 35mm projector playing. Let me just play that on its own. Here we go. Put up a bit so you can hear it. Yeah. I also added real noise, which is. Can you see the microphone over there? That's actually this tape recorder. It's pointing at this tape recorder. It's a 1958 Grundig TK20. The Beatles used this very model. I think John Lennon stole it from the Institute to record That'll Be the Day at home when they were still basically kids. I think that particular tape recorder was sold for something in the region of £30,000. Exactly the same model as that. It cost 50 guineas. A guinea was £1 and a shilling in pre-decimal days. 50 guineas in 1958 was a considerable chunk of change. I bought that in a junk shop, or a charity shop I should say, in Windsor for £15, and I use it mainly for class, for doing tape loops, but mainly at home. I use it as a guitar amplifier because it's essentially a 1950s Fender Champ, the PA system within it, and it sounds brilliant. Anyway, I digress. So that's the real noise. If I play it now, you can just hear that, and that's the actual sound of that machine when it makes no sound, just the sound of the electronics and the sound of the mechanical elements of that machine. Okay, we'll mute that again. And then the tape noise is this. I've treated this. Let me take the treating out, overdrive and channel, and turn the volume up. And that's me doing this into a microphone for as long as I could, which is why it's cut and pasted so much. And finally the voice. Here we go, solo it. I've decided to create a video clip of the class rather than try and teach it overdrive. This is because the share screen option is rubbish. Sorry. And the sound provision and then channel EQ. It's just awful. And I'm going to switch my... This is a sound class, so we can't have rubbish sound email playback. Off. Logic Pro X. So even that's better. Is a Mac-based DAW, meaning it'll only run on a Mac. Sound is all about what we expect to hear. Anyway, so I'm going to create a new track because what I want is the sound of the poor quality film. I mean, this was shot on a digital camera and I put all of that extra stuff on in Final Cut Pro. But it's got the sound quality or the film quality has got to be there somehow, and I cheated with the projector. So I'm going to create a new track. Audio, input 1, create. There we go. And I'm going to solo it. I'm going to unsolo these. There we go. Okay, I got sound coming through there. I'm just going to take the speakers out just for a second. So what I want to do is I want to actually record. I'll do it here actually. I want to record some sound of a film making noise when it has no sound, so to speak. The general kind of the film clicks from the optical soundtrack of a 1950s, it could be earlier actually. And I have this here, which is actually from the Atlanta Board of Education from the 1930s, I would imagine. And what I'm going to do, if it lets me, okay, there it is. I'm going to put the volume up full. Now I'm going to move this microphone as close to the speaker on this monitor as possible. If I move it, if I show the camera, there it is down there. Okay, and so what I'm going to do, I'm going to press record on this. Just wait, is it? And then play back.
For use as part of a talking picture, the sound to accompany the photographed action must be
Okay. Stop recording now. Okay, I'm going to play that back. Let me just switch my microphone off so I can play it back. There it is. So I'm going to trim that there, and I'll make sure that it finishes before he starts talking.
For you.
There we go. Ooh. Like so. Just zoom out a bit. And I'm going to just cut and paste that. So I'm going to position that here at the point where the film starts. Command C copies. Highlighted track you can paste. Command V pastes, and it does a crossfade. For some reason it doesn't show it, but it's there. That's a new issue with Logic and Big Sur, I think. There we go. I should bring my microphone back a bit nice so you can actually hear what the hell I'm saying. Okay, and that looks to me to be about right. Right, so I'm going to unsolo this. Now I'm not going to need the projector. We can leave the dog bark in, and the voiceover needs to be a bit quieter. I can take that tape noise out because, as I said, it was just me going tss, but I'll leave the real noise in and I'll take that level down a bit. So let's have a little listen and watch and see whether it reads. The purpose of this video clip is to provide a practical demonstration of sound-to-picture techniques using the Digital Audio Workstation, or DAW, Logic Pro X. There we are. I think that works a lot better. Sound design is all about lying. and cheating and stealing, and telling somebody that they're hearing one thing when in truth they're hearing a whole pile of other stuff. But sound only ever works if everybody believes it without question. The semiotics of sound is a simple thing to understand, but it's a complex thing to realize. It's just understanding how to listen. And if it sounds wrong to you, then it probably is wrong. There we go. Okay, so that's it for today. On this clip, have 5 minutes break, because you've been looking at this for about an hour. I say about an hour. I haven't actually made the main video yet. I've just done this bit and the introduction. But have 5 minutes and then go back onto Teams in time for a quick Q&A. And then we're done. Well, at least you're done. I probably have another. Well, I have another class directly afterwards. So unless you're the Tuesday afternoon group, the last one in the day, I've got to do it again. I'm wibbling now. So goodbye. Have a cup of tea. See you in 5 minutes.